The movie begins with a man named Duffy who walks into a bar and sees a group of tough-looking men playing poker. He decides to join them even though he has no money, so he pawns his watch to be able to play. After a few rounds, Duffy wins, which angers the group's leader and leads to a fight. Duffy easily defeats them, and at that moment, a man named Max, recently released from prison, witnesses the scene. Later, Duffy checks into a nearby motel as he doesn't have a permanent home and moves around frequently. It's revealed that he used to be a Marine Special Forces major and that 7 years ago, he lost many of his fellow soldiers in Afghanistan. The next morning, Max approaches Duffy, intrigued by the fight he witnessed at the bar. At first, Duffy is reluctant to talk to him, but Max insists that he has something interesting to offer and even invites him to breakfast. Out of curiosity, Duffy agrees. During breakfast, Max explains that he recognized Duffy's martial arts skills and proposes they team up to make money through fighting. Duffy is initially distrustful of Max, but Max promises to be honest and is willing to prove it. Soon after, Max takes Duffy to an underground fight club run by a man named Donald, who pairs up fighters. After the first match, Donald challenges anyone to face his champion, a large and intimidating man. Donald suggests Duffy should fight, knowing Max brought him for that purpose, but Duffy refuses when he learns he'd have to face Max. When Duffy tries to leave, the others mock him, calling him a coward. Eventually, Duffy accepts the challenge and defeats Donald's champion in just a few seconds. After the fight, Max collects their winnings and the two quickly part ways upon hearing police sirens. On the way out, Max asks Duffy if he has a place to stay. When Duffy says no, Max decides to take him to his sister's house. When they arrive, they find Rachel, Max's sister, throwing her boyfriend out. At that moment, Duffy confronts Rachel's problematic boyfriend. It's also revealed that Rachel is a widow and has a daughter. The next day, Max meets with Parker, a powerful mafia boss to whom he owes a lot of money. Parker warns that if Max doesn't pay his debt within a week, the amount will increase. Desperate, Max decides to settle the debt by organizing a big match, relying on Duffy's fighting talent. Meanwhile, Duffy stays at Rachel's house and cleans the place, which surprises and impresses both her and her daughter when they return. That night, after having dinner together, Max comes home looking optimistic since Duffy seems to be fitting in well at Rachel's. However, Max asks Rachel and her daughter to step away so he can speak to Duffy in private. In the conversation, Max admits that he owes a large amount of money to a mafia boss and can't pay it off in installments. He asks Duffy to participate in another fight to help him. Feeling sympathetic, Duffy agrees. The scene shifts to Parker interrogating Riggs, Rachel's ex-boyfriend, whom Duffy previously confronted. It's revealed that Riggs used to work for Parker and had stolen money from the group. At that moment, a corrupt police chief named Lynx arrives and begins questioning Riggs about the stolen money. Lynx discovers that Riggs hid the money at his girlfriend's house, and after getting this information, kills him without hesitation. Lynx then orders Parker to find out who Riggs's girlfriend is. The following night, Max and Duffy head to the fight venue. When they arrive, a women's match is underway while Lynx watches from the stands. After the opening bout, it's Duffy's turn to face one of Parker's men. Donald, the fight organizer, warns that Duffy should not be underestimated. In the match, Duffy easily defeats his opponent. As Duffy and Max get ready to leave, Parker stops them and offers Duffy a new challenge to fight his right-hand man, Ford. Max, fully aware of how dangerous Ford is, refuses, stating that their debt has already been paid. However, Parker promises to triple the payout if Duffy wins. Duffy agrees, but on the condition that he gets paid 5 times more if he comes out victorious. Parker accepts without hesitation. In the fight, Duffy struggles at first, as Ford has never been defeated. However, recalling his experiences in Afghanistan, Duffy shifts into a more aggressive mindset and manages to defeat Ford, leaving him on the verge of collapse. Back at home, both Duffy and Max are euphoric about the money they now have. Max thanks God for bringing Duffy into his life, knowing that without him, he likely would have remained in debt and fallen into Parker's hands. The next day, Parker contacts Lynx to inform him that he's discovered where Riggs's girlfriend lives. Shortly after, Lynx and his team go to Rachel's house pretending to be searching for Riggs. Rachel explains that they've been separated for a long time and that she doesn't know where he is. However, the corrupt officers insist on searching the house, claiming they're looking for the money Riggs stole. After searching the entire house with no success, Lynx warns Rachel that she has 1 week to find the money or she and her daughter will be in serious trouble. That same afternoon, Max and Duffy return home and find out that the corrupt police had raided Rachel's house earlier that day. Rachel tells them they were looking for money Riggs supposedly hid there, although she knows nothing about it. Max suspects these corrupt cops are likely working with Parker. He tells Rachel and her daughter to stay inside while he and Duffy head to Parker's headquarters. Soon after, Max and Duffy confront Parker for harassing Max's sister, but Parker denies any involvement, claiming it's a larger organization beyond his control and that he doesn't dare defy them. Parker also explains that Riggs confessed to hiding the stolen money in Rachel's house, putting both her and her daughter in danger. If the money isn't found, the corrupt officers will kill them. At that moment, Parker suggests that Max take responsibility for the debt. Feeling pressured, Max and Duffy leave, but outside they unexpectedly run into Lynx and her aide in a car. Max feels overwhelmed, not knowing how to settle Riggs's debt. He knows that if he doesn't, Rachel and her daughter will suffer the consequences. Duffy tries to calm him, assuring him that he's willing to fight to save Rachel and her daughter. A few hours later, Duffy stands outside Rachel's house, lost in thought. Rachel approaches him and asks why he rarely sleeps. Duffy explains that when he closes his eyes, he remembers his fallen comrades, most of whom died in the war. Meanwhile, Max meets with Donald to organize a major fight for Duffy in hopes of winning enough money to pay off Riggs's debt and stop the corrupt cops from harassing Rachel. Donald agrees to help, on the condition that he keeps 30% of the earnings. The next morning, Donald visits Parker to inform him about Max's request to organize a big fight. Donald also tries to convince Parker, saying it's a chance to get revenge after the previous loss. Parker agrees and they plan the fight for that very night. That evening, Max brings Duffy to the fight venue, where many wealthy people gather to place bets on their champions. Parker and Lynx are the event's organizers and are convinced Duffy will lose this time. Lynx even says that if her champion loses to Duffy, Parker will have to cover the losses. Parker refuses, arguing that he has proof of Lynx's crimes, and if that information gets out, Lynx and her team will be in serious trouble. Meanwhile, Rachel is taking out the trash when she notices a hole near the dumpster. Inside, she finds a bag of money hidden by Riggs. At that moment, her daughter confesses she had hidden the money because she was tired of Riggs mistreating her mother. After apologizing, Rachel decides to keep the money. Back at the fight, Donald tells Duffy that his opponent is a strong police officer. Donald has bet $5 million on Duffy and urges him to win. The fight begins, and Duffy easily defeats the officer, who had already lost a previous match. This causes chaos to erupt, and Duffy and Donald decide to flee. On the way out, Max calls Rachel, telling her to get everything ready to leave town quickly with her daughter. Rachel tells him they've already found the money the police were looking for, but Max insists they must leave immediately. Shortly after, Max and Duffy arrive home and tell Rachel and her daughter to get in the car. Suddenly, they are attacked by the corrupt police. During the confrontation, Rachel's daughter is shot. Max calls an ambulance, which takes Rachel and her daughter to the hospital. Duffy suggests that they need to end the problem once and for all and proposes visiting an old friend of his. Meanwhile, Donald tries to escape with the betting money, but he is killed by a representative sent by Lynx to retrieve the cash. On the other hand, Max and Duffy meet up with Boa, a former comrade of Duffy's in the army. Duffy explains that they need weapons to confront the corrupt officers. Boa assures them he has the necessary weapons in his car and insists on joining them, reminding Duffy that he owes him his life from the battlefield. That night, Duffy, Max, and Boa go to Parker's headquarters to face the corrupt police. Parker warns them to always stay alert, as those officers are targeting him too. Suddenly, the corrupt cops surround the place and a fierce battle breaks out. Boa, Max, and Duffy manage to defeat Lynx's men, At one point, Parker corners Lynx, but she kills him without hesitation. Then, Lynx corners Max and threatens to kill him if Duffy doesn't surrender. To save Max, Duffy gives himself up, but Max takes advantage of a distraction and shoots Lynx, killing her. Once things calm down, Duffy realizes that Boa is dying. He tries to comfort him, but Boa passes away. The next day, Max visits the hospital and learns that Rachel's daughter is awake and ready to go home. Back at the house, Rachel reads a letter from Duffy. In it, Duffy thanks her for taking him in and asks her to use the money wisely. He also promises that once everything is resolved, he will return to marry her. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a recap. See you in the next one.